Hello and welcome back to another Kerbal space program video. So this week we're gonna continue our science mode. And we're not gonna go to a different new planet, but this week we're gonna make a space station with our main module, which is gonna be the science module. So let's get started with the new lander, nice lunar lander style. So we get this, it already has fuel, monopropellant, batteries, everything you need on it. So all you need to add is strap this little service bay with the experiments, the legs, and that's basically it. So don't forget the docking port on top, of course. So now we build our main module, main space station module. So first add the hitchhiking bay, just for show, and of course the science lab. Then add some massive antennas, relay antennas, and then some nuclear engines. I wanted to add more than one engine, so I find a way to add 4 of them using these structural pieces, 4 of them, offset them a little bit inside the fuel tank. Of course, remove the oxidizer from the fuel tank, we don't need them with the nuclear engines, and that's it for our main space station module. So now we add some batteries and massive solar panels, and I try to fit everything in fairings, but the fairings they're just too small for those big relay antennas. Let's add some main first stage with a lot of fuel and a lot of big engines. So here we are, this is a very tall rocket. Add Bob and Jebediah in there, put some custom flag on it, and let's start to launch. Then I realized that the rocket is actually really long and very nose heavy, meaning as soon as the fuel starts to get used from the bottom, we get really nose heavy and we can't control the rocket. So let's tweak our craft a little bit and also add some engine on the lander, which I totally forgot. So there we are, add some engines, add a bit more fuel in the midsection, put Jebediah and Bob back in there. I actually added some boosters on the side, solid fuel boosters, to help us in the first stage, make our rocket a little bit shorter, and off we go. So we're pretty stable right now, going straight up while the boosters are not empty, then ditching the boosters and starting our gravity turn. So everything goes pretty nicely and smoothly, nice gravity turn. We got like a 100 kilometer orbit, and then start to go flat and burn flat. Look at our orbit, target the moon, and we'll try to not circularize our orbit, but go straight for the moon to save a little bit of delta V. Not that we need it because we have a lot of fuel, but why not? There we go, ditched our first stage and start to make our approach to the moon. Here we are, nice encounter. Make another maneuver to get a better, closer encounter. And even better, there we are, this should be more than enough. Try to nullify our inclination, since we're gonna orbit the moon and have a lander and everything. It's easier to have no inclination at all. Do some basic science and send the science to the science module, to the experiment. There we are, now we are circularizing our orbits around the moon. Try to get a 15 kilometer orbit. Nice, round and circular. So we're adjusting it slowly, very slightly. So we got 14 and 15 kilometers, that's a pretty good orbit. Here we are, get Bob out there, do some science around the ship, reset experiments, and go into the lander module. Do some EVA action, get into the lander, detach the lander, and land. So this is our approach. We notice that the fuel is going down really quickly, so we're gonna try to do some SpaceX kind of landing, meaning just drop really quickly and burn at the last minute. And here we are, nice little landing. Do some experiments, get Bob out there, plant another flag, second flag on the moon, and get our little experiments out of the service bay. So this is the first time I use them, and I'm not really sure how to use them. So I'm actually getting everything deployed and noticed it doesn't really work. So I kind of looked it up, and actually you need one solar panel energy for every experiment. So I tried to put them closer together, see if it works, doesn't work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it here, and I will bring more of those solar panels in a second launch, since our space station is not finished yet. So getting back into the lander and try to rendezvous with our main ship. So here we are, not far. We didn't really look when we launched, and we should have waited for the main ship to be approximately above us, but it's actually just the other way, the other side of the moon, which means we're not really gonna have an encounter. So I decided to go prograde a little bit to have a higher orbit, meaning we will go slower than the main ship and even a little bit more. So the main ship will go faster than us, and we'll do a few orbits until we get a close enough encounter, which is about 4 or 5 orbits. There we are. So I'm using a lot of monopropellant to do this because we don't have much fuel left, and they have pretty big monopropellant tanks. So here we are, very close encounter, less than 1 kilometer. That'd be good enough. We can do the rest by hand. So here we are, target the docking port, use the orbit, the docking mode at the bottom left, which is much easier to dock. You can actually use the ASDWX keys, same as in EVA, which is much easier. Here we are, ever so slightly overshooting a little bit. It took us like 2 tries to get there. So the goal is actually to have, if you look on the nav ball, set it to the target and try to have the target and the retrograde aligned properly, which means that you're actually going exactly at the right spot. Here we are, deactivating the RCS and let the docking take place. Nice docking done. Get Bob out, take the science, transfer it to the science module, and we can actually start to do all the science. There we are. And that will be it for today. This is our main space station module. Next week we're probably gonna maybe add some mods to have some nice looking inflatable rings and stuff, and continue our space station. So I hope you liked this episode. If you did, leave a comment and also subscribe and like. Thank you. Bye.